Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the barbershop, the roundtable barbershop, where today we have five clients, I suppose, or is one of us the barber? I don't know, but we're
You're the
all here.
barber, Richard. It's your channel.
I'm the barber. I'm the barber, and I have four clients here who've come in to tell me their stories and their reviews of the story and the engine with an ampersand and sign. The fifth episode of the current season of Doctor Who, Shooty Second, and yeah, we've got the full complement today of round table us. So, Miles and Josh, perhaps briefly, just to begin with, any brief thoughts, feelings, opinions about last week's episode, Lucky Day, that you need to get off your chest? Anything to say there?
I really liked it. I really liked it. It was like the first half. I thought it's a bit like Love and Monsters again. I got that kind of vibe from it. And then second half, I actually didn't see the twist coming. Not unlike Shooty and Verada in the read through. And it was good to see what Pete McTee did with Unit, and it got me kind of intrigued for the spin-off as well. So yeah, good stuff, I thought.
Yeah, I'd echo the same kind of thing. It was a real good one. Kind of a good sort of, appropriate one for this day and age as well, with all the fake news and those trolls online and stuff like that. It really felt good. And Millie Gibson is just, I'm always praising Millie Gibson though, so there's nothing new there. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
It's
So
phenomenal
yeah,
though to see.
she's
And I
really
thought that
good.
the whole sort of, I loved the scene where she's in the pub and she's talking to Conrad about how everything that's happened to her in season one and how she's kind of traumatized by it. I thought that was a really
Yeah,
unique angle
an
to
interesting
look at.
angle. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's never really been done before. I know we've had like the therapy group from Power of the Doctor, but normally it's just sort of I got on my life and there was this person called the Doctor and it was
Yeah.
great and now I'm back home. But to have that, especially for like a character who's young, she's only 20 years old, and
Yeah.
to have it from the perspective of this mad thing happened and I can't really readjust to it because it's suddenly been taken away from me, I thought was really unique. And I wonder if that will be explored in the future because I think there's a lot of mileage in that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it will because that kind of the end of the episode is her going off and
Mm,
taking that time. So we'll probably see the repercussions of that in a few
yeah,
weeks' time. Fingers crossed. Yeah, but no,
indeed.
thumbs up all
Yes.
around.
Yeah, I mean, not long to go now, really, because we've got the finale, we've got Insta Song Contest before that. Is this going to be the last sort of normal episode, or kind of standalone, or slightly standalone we
Hmm.
get for a while? I don't know, it depends. But yes, so the story and the engine. Lagos, Nigeria is our setting here in Africa. Inua Allams is our writer, the playwright and poet. And yes,
A
this
market trader.
barbershop setting. Indeed, he's in the episode itself. Yes, as we pointed out before. Yeah, and of
So
course,
Pete,
I
you'll have
should
a
say,
screenshot to get signed at conventions in the
yeah,
future now.
I should say as well. Of course, we've
Just for
got
you.
Orion Bakare as the barber, who I thought was excellent by the
BAFTA
way.
winning.
But BAFTA
Yes.
winning,
BAFTA winning now. Yeah.
and Pete and I saw him on stage with Freema
We
Agyeman
we had a
in
drink with him.
2023.
To
Yes,
drink with a barber.
Did he
Did you
try and
forget?
get to tell us the
Just
story?
trimmers.
the story has been told before, but just to repeat it again, so we were there, in the bar waiting for Freema. We kind of spotted the actors. It was just like a small quartet, wasn't it, doing the play? And we'd clocked that he was, of course, Leandro, the lion creature in The Woman Who Lived in the Peter Capaldi era. So, like, we might as well get him to sign our programs as well. And he walks past, and I'm like, oh, excuse me, could you sign a program? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And he's signing it, and Pete's as well. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I loved you in Doctor Who as the Lion Man. And she just kind of looked at me. Oh, I could sort of tell. Well, in the moment, I thought, oh, does he even remember that? Or like, he must think I'm a complete, like, why would you say that? But looking back, because that was like September 23, I wonder whether. I don't know, it's probably a little bit too early for him to have been cast in this, but maybe those discussions were happening. So maybe there was a whole other level to that we weren't aware of. But
Yeah,
yeah, very nice to know that, yeah, there's someone there that we sort of saw
and
before.
he was great in that as well, wasn't he? He was great in that play.
Yeah,
He was really good in it. Yeah,
yeah.
Very
And
good in
in
this
this
as
as
well.
well. I mean,
Definitely.
fantastic,
yeah,
wasn't he? Yeah.
Phenomenal in this.
Probably the
Real
standout performance. Yeah, I loved. I mean, yeah, it's getting into it really, but I loved like his transformation over the course of it as well. Both the kind of the character thing and how that was echoed by his physical transformation with the hair, and obviously hair was a big thing in this episode with it being in a barbershop. But yeah, the hair sort of being tied up and then kind of coming down and then being cut off, and like it tells that story through that transformation of what's kind of going on with him as a character and how he is changing. I thought that was,
and he had a real
really
presence
cool,
as
really
well.
special.
Like you could feel that this guy had an importance to him.
Yes.
He really brought, he brought all of that. And I mean, Doctor Who's guest cast this series has been fantastic. You know, every single episode so far, you've had a real. I mean, like Alan Cumming and Lux, Rose Ayling-Ellis in The Well,
Yeah.
Jordan, what's his face, playing Conrad in Lucky Day. It's really been a strong run of people. So yeah, top marks. I literally sent a message to the chat the other day because I was watching the BAFTAs and so many guest stars from season 2 are up for awards. Have been in so many shows, and it just shows Doctor Who's got this great pedigree through this recent run. So we're lucky. We're really lucky.
I thought he was going to say
Real
Alan
standout.
Partridge, not Alan Cumming. I don't remember that.
It'll be a very
part.
different version of Lux. Yeah,
Yeah. I kind
Yes.
of want to see that version now.
yeah, set in Norwich.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Got a reference to
So
Lux this week as well. Sorry,
we
Richard,
did. No,
interrupted there.
I was
We did, just a
thinking about
little
that
one.
and like how.
Yes.
So, 'cause, yeah, we saw the cinema, didn't we? And I think I was thinking because it might be the next time trailer for Lux on the end of Robot Revolution. But I was kind of thinking about the fact how actually in like 3 or 4 episodes this season we've seen that cinema kind of in a sense, which is a random thought I had. But yeah, I mean, I suppose Pete, why don't you give us some thoughts on this? Because I know you weren't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily your thing. You've watched it again right before this. How does
Yeah.
it sit with you now?
Yeah, so bit of context, and I have told the guys already about this, but I went away for the weekend with my dad and my 2 brothers, and we stayed in a Premier Inn, and we made sure that we were going to be back for Doctor 2. We went for a meal, and I think we went for the meal after the Doctor 2, but we worked all around so we could watch Doctor 2 live. Annoyingly, I already had the Joe Martin thing spoiled, so that was a bit annoying, but managed to watch Doctor 2 when it was on. But the TVs in Premier Inn wouldn't go above, like, I think it was 23. So we were there, and we were trying to strain in to hear what was going on. And, like, I generally don't like watching TV with subtitles, but I got 5 minutes in and I just said to the guys, I was like, is it right if I put subtitles on? They were like, yeah, that's fine. So I was mostly reading it rather than watching it, to be honest.
Like a
came
target
away-
novel.
Yeah, basically.
Like a
Yeah.
live
I don't need to
target
read that one when it comes out. Yeah. Kind of came away from it thinking it was okay. It wasn't really my type of Doctor Who. It was okay. But again, I think part of that is because the bar's been so high this year that maybe that's why that one was slightly lower for me. But having said that, just rewatched it. Just finished about, I don't know, a bit more than 10 minutes ago, but just finished half an hour ago, whatever. And really enjoyed it, actually. I enjoyed it much more on rewatch. I think because I was a bit more sure of his motivations, the barber's motivations, and what he was actually doing and where he was from. And because it's a bit like, I think Miles, I think you said a similar thing. It's a bit messy in terms of, or it comes across a bit messy in terms of his.
There's a lot of, in terms of the sci-fi elements, there's a lot of layers to it.
Of what it actually was.
On the
Yeah.
first viewing, loved the vibe, but like there's a lot of changes. Like 1 minute, oh, he's a god. No, he's not a god. Oh, that's the
Yeah.
daughter of Anansi. Oh,
Yes.
and then you've got all these different layers. So you've
And I
got to
think-
absorb that on the first viewing, and then the second time round, you can watch it and go, I know all of these movements now.
But that's what I mean. I think it was already quite confusing with certain bits, but having to watch those confusing bits with no sound was
That
even more.
doesn't help, does it? Yeah.
But really enjoyed a lot of where it was going on the rewatch. Do think the Joe Martin thing was a bit unneeded. I mean, I'm not a fan of her Doctor anyway, but I also feel it's one of those things where because she's in it for she has like one line, doesn't she, or two lines. It's almost like the whole focus of the episode is on her rather than everything else that went on the episode. So I think it's a shame that she was in it really because I think it's taken away from the actual episode a little bit.
Same with Rogue last year
um,
with the Richard E. Grant thing, though. It's
yeah,
not
yeah, exactly the same thing. Yeah, and I think I said that during the roundtable last year. There's these little things that they get Twitter talking or they get X talking, but like it almost takes the attention away from the actual episode and the great writing and the rest of the episode and stuff. So wasn't too keen on that. And the other thing that I wasn't too keen on was all the flashes of old doctors. I just think we've had it so many times in the last probably 10 years. I think it started with I remember around the time of like Magician's Apprentice thinking it's starting to become a little bit of a trope, and even now 10 years later it's kind of like I'm just fed up of it. I'm fed up of seeing, and I love the old Doctors, and I love Troughton, and I love all Eccleston, and I love all of them, but I just think maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like for a casual viewer it would take you out slightly. But even as a fan, I just think it takes me out of it because I don't know why. I think because I know that the Doctor Who fans on Twitter afterwards are going to be going that clips from that episode, that clips from that episode. It takes me out of the story a little bit. I don't know. But I enjoyed it.
It alienates new viewers, basically, though, because like if this is supposed to be a new era, you're kind of thinking, okay, you don't want to like drown them in the mass back catalogue, and if you've got that in the background of every episode, it's a bit daunting.
I think at the end of the day, we talked about. Sorry, Pete. We talked about that last week, I suppose, didn't we? Well, not last week, week before, about how this is it was marketed as a new start, a fresh era, and that's kind of not been as fresh as we thought it was initially going to be. So I guess all that kind of opinion on whether it's affecting casual viewers or not just rides on Disney, whether they want to invest for a future for the show, whether it's what they want, they were pitched, But I can see it's like, yeah, of course the old Doctors thing, could be confusing. As fans, we don't know what the other side of that will be. I guess it's hard. It's hard for us to say, right? We only know how to react to it as fans, really.
I think it'll be different. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead, Josh. I was just going to waffle on.
It'd be different if like the wider Hooniverse was on Disney Plus, but it's not. It's only season 2. I saw Council of Geeks did a good video on this the other day about how in America, the classic Doctor Who is on, I think it's Tubi or something like that as a streaming service, and then you've got the whole of New Who on HBO Max. So it's all in different streaming services, and it's not all in one place. It would be different if this was the case of everything is on Disney Plus, and then you could watch something like this and go, oh, those look cool. I'm going to go back and watch them. But you can't do that on Disney Plus because the wider whole universe is a UK only thing. So I think that's possibly the misstep in terms of what they're doing, especially since as well, like on the social media for like the Disney Doctor Who account on Instagram and everything, they're making reference to all of these things and like the Fugitive Doctor's back. And it's like, if this is a new viewer, you don't know who the Fugitive Doctor is. It doesn't mean anything. So I think I don't know why all of the stuff isn't on Disney Plus. It seems really strange.
Maybe down to the nightmare of the iPlayer thing. Because, like, can you imagine trying to communicate that as well? Like, okay, so we've got all this stuff on iPlayer that's taken us ages to work out. Yeah. Disney internationally have the streaming worldwide. But the rest of this stuff, we're tied up in all these different companies. So it'll be like BritBox, we've got to take it off this person, take it off this. So I think that's probably the reason they haven't bothered. And they've waited to see, is this going to be a success? And I don't think it's done as well as they thought they have. So maybe after season 1, they were expecting to maybe like put the new series on or something. And then unfortunately, it's just not panned out that way.
Yeah. One thing I do think is that aside from maybe the Sutek thing, the reliance on having seen that stuff isn't a necessity. I think all it is it's a bit kind of like, oh, I haven't seen that one, but not in the sense of I don't know what's going on because I haven't seen that clip of Jodie in whatever episode her clip was taken from. I think it's just there you go. So I think it's more kind of, I know it's not the same kind of thing, but the Morbius
Yeah.
doctors in Brain of Morbius, you don't go, hang about, I've not seen any of these guys. This is really confusing for me. I think it's just, oh, there's just some other faces of the Doctor. We know that he can regenerate.
Yeah.
The Joe Martin thing I think was brief enough and kind of done nicely enough. It fitted in with that moment. I personally feel so that it just was like, oh, here's another face, and a little bit of intrigue. So yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting debate on
Yeah.
the amount that we rely
I just
on
think
that
it,
stuff.
with the Joe Martin stuff, I think it takes the attention away from episode. It's in it like in a bigger part, and the episode was maybe based on her. She's a doctor or had more to do. Or even in one on the flashback, five flashbacks on the Barbara screen. I'd be like, fair enough. Just having it for 2 lines, it's like almost felt, what's the point? I don't know.
I didn't mind the Joe Martin thing. It was good to see her. Although it did raise more questions about how does the Doctor remember all of this stuff? The way I took it though was I don't think he does remember it. I think this is
her
daughter
because it's
of
her
Doctor
seeing
her because
Seeing
that's
that
how
Doctor.
she remembers the Doctor rather than he's got the memories of it. Because I know people online were debating this, but I thought he doesn't remember. This is just her perceiving it. That's fine. I have to say that I think I disagree with you, Miles, because I think that it's the resolution of the entire story that all of these other episodes exist. So, sure, you don't have to necessarily have seen them, but to have an actual impact and to be satisfying as a viewer, I guess you'd have to be aware of them. Otherwise, it just comes across as a bit of a Deus Ex Machina in a way, because it's just that the day is saved by a load of clips that you haven't seen before.
saved by iPlayer
wasn't-
by the Hooniverse.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be different if it wasn't the way that the story was resolved, but it was, and so I think that I wasn't sure how I felt about that. A bit like with Pete, and I think it was more of a crime in this one than say The Magician's Apprentice, because that wasn't the resolution to the story. It was just they showed the clips.
Just Davros showing his
mind it
collection
in,
sets
say-
on the screens.
Yeah, I didn't mind it in something like, I think the first time you have something like this is like the 11th hour, isn't it? And I don't mind that because that's a Doctor and it's like making a statement like,
Yeah, but
I'm
it was
the new
also
Doctor. But
it was so new. It was so new then as well to have clips of the old
Yeah.
Doctors. Like I hadn't really done, but 15 years, 20 years later, it's like
Yeah.
we've had it all. We've done it all.
I think though that the clips how they were, because all it was kind of illustrating was here's a man who's got so many stories, an overwhelming amount. That's what saves the day. And I think just because it's all these different faces, that kind of still has the same message that the Doctor is this Time Lord who has lived such a long life, and that's always been the sort of a heart of the show, that the Doctor's been going on forever. So I think I think just because it was all these different clips, I think it still communicates what that end beat was trying to say, in that the stories go on forever, because in terms of the levels of this story, it was about being a writer, it was about the stories we tell each other, it was about the community of both in Lagos and just also on a greater scale of all these people brought together, like Doctor Who fans, brought together by stories. So I think that on a small level, the use of the clips and the reliance on the back catalogue is one thing, but I think that it did what it needed to for me in terms of the story at the end.
I get that. I think that if it was me, and again, it's for like a new audience, I would have just shown clips from the past season or so, just clips with Shooty and Ruby, and then Shooty and Belinda. But yeah, it's fine.
Look at this, people. Healthy disagreement. We still get on. We're still talking.
Yeah, that's what you think. See you later. That's why I'm outside, so I can make it okay.
I do. Yeah, it didn't bother me massively, but like Pete says, I suppose I was kind of aware of the fact that it kind of feels a bit lazy, or like it's something we've seen before, it's been done before. Maybe if they'd done something like spent more of the budget on the window thing, the projections, and had like cartoon, not cartoon, but like sort of artistic versions of the Doctors, the adventures, something more akin to what we had in Rogue, where like there were new scans or models of the faces. Something like that might have felt in the kind of African style as well that we saw with the drawings at the start. That might have felt a bit more unique. I think with the Joe Martin thing, yeah, it's a really weird one because like I'm quite a big fan of the Jodie era myself, and it never has massively. Well, maybe like in Power of the Doctor, it bothered me a little bit, like that she wasn't in that more, and a little bit for Flux, but that's kind of forgivable maybe because of the circumstances of that series. But like, yeah, I don't. Although it was great to see her, and that moment is electric, and it's like, oh, it's so cool, and the over the shoulder thing was just like a great way of doing it.
And it came out of nowhere, personally. I mean, I know Pete, you'd seen it, but for the rest of us, was that like a real shock?
That's a good point. So this was one of the leaks.
We knew
the main leak for this story.
Oh, okay, right. So this was just me and
no
my
idea.
So I'm guessing,
right.
so maybe just me and
But at least it was two of us who had
but
no idea.
Yeah, fantastic. I can imagine like as a casual.
There's really that shouldn't have been. I remember in that. I think when we saw John Arkia, some Lester had you duty and kind of a bit on the fence about you kind of giving it a fair answer.
When we saw her at that convention, and that kind of, it was online, wasn't it, afterwards? Yeah, and I suppose there are even other things as well which casual fans may or may not have picked up, but yeah, she was at the premiere. Little things like that. Where
totally forgot she was at the premiere.
But there we go, which is fantastic. Yeah.
So was Michelle Gomez.
So I'm just going to say, was Michelle Gomez there as well? Yeah.
And Martha's mum
there as well.
Martha's mum.
I don't think she was this year. I think she was at the Star Beast one.
Oh, okay.
But then obviously wasn't anything. Oh, touch wood. But
it's like Caroline Ford was at the 60th one though, and she wasn't.
But
so
no,
you never know.
It is a weird thing with her, and especially now that she's doing Big Finish as well. This kind of does feel slightly unprecedented in that we've had someone like Lee, like that was her era, or Jodie's era, but she was part of that era. She's made the transition to Big Finish, and now she's back on TV, and like it kind of sets the precedent from here, maybe that she will do more stuff on TV, and that's exciting.
But did we think the same about like Paul McGann being in Power of the Doctor? We're like, oh, here we go, they're back on screen in his costume. Maybe it's time for a series, and then but it's a different sort of thing. But
but I guess she is kind of the new Paul McGann, though, really, isn't she? Because like people are always saying, oh, like give her a series. It's never going to happen. Like especially now she's got the Big Finish one instead. That's like the closest we'll get to that, I think.
That's why that's happened. Yeah,
but it would be nice to see her in the show again, and I didn't. Personally, I think it distracted too much because, like you say, as long as you have an understanding of the fact that the Doctor has had different faces before, even if you don't know exactly who those actors were, you get the thing in the moment, I think, that this is a past incarnation who met that character, Abby, whatever. But yeah, there's kind of a bigger discussion to be had about her, I think, and it's frustrating, or slightly frustrating, I think. It's like there are photos that are released afterwards of her like on the set and with shooting stuff, and you just kind of wish that maybe we'd had some of that, and maybe that's still to come. One day, it would be nice to think so, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of all been said already, hasn't it? All the stuff about her. Yes.
Why was her collar not turned down on her coat?
We now turn to our costume experts, Joe.
It really bugs me because I think in Time Fracture it was the same, and it just doesn't look as good.
She in Time Fracture?
I don't think it's the same coat.
Really? Because I saw people saying this. Is it a new coat?
Is it not?
I just assumed it was the same one with the colour.
And the buttons are different. I think the cut and the shirt's definitely new. So that at least gives character options a new variant out of that. You know what I mean? So Al, if you're watching,
with the incorrect coat collar, which of course would have to be noted down.
Well, he's going to do that. He's going to waste good money on that. Why let money go to waste?
They'll
Oh
do
my
a pen
God.
set with different colours, 3 with colours.
And then a shooty with her
Yeah.
that's got 4 swappable heads of different haircuts,
Yes.
gradually getting changed.
That would be good, actually. Yeah. Oh my God! But yeah, Joe Martin. There we go.
There we go.
I suppose in terms of the rest of it,
No, I was just going to say, I think Joe Martin's collar has become a new logo gape for me, where it's just something that really
Yeah.
bugs me aesthetically. And I hope she comes back and they fix the coat. That's my wish for the
there we
finale.
go.
There we
Oh
go.
my
it does.
goodness.
It does make you wonder if it's going to have repercussions for the series with her back.
What, the coat?
'Cause there's all,
I was going to
No,
say the coat.
just because there's all this mention of Time Lord mythology, whether they're going to delve into that more as it goes on, or whether the Doctor's own personal history will come up, because we haven't had that yet. And that was a heavy tease for the series. Also, weirdly, am I right in thinking that Belinda sees one of the space babies, or did I imagine that?
Yeah,
Captain
she does.
Poppy.
Yes.
Like,
Captain Poppy.
I was sat there and I was like, have I taken some psychedelics or something? Because this, like, why are we going back
That
to
was
this?
that
think
was
Belinda
great
thought that as
actually
well.
because I saw people talk
Yeah,
about it online
I thought I did
afterwards.
psychedelics when I watched Space Babies.
Yeah. But I saw people mentioning that and I literally was like, oh my God, I
No.
did not notice that at all. And then going back and the credits, she's credited as Poppy and it's the same actor.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, so well, again, I suppose how long's a piece of string with this? It's a bit like the Fugitive Doctor thing. Is it just a sly nod to the fact that we've already had a story about stories in this era before, and the whole thing with stories leaking, and we'll get that actor back and just do a little thing there, like with Graham seeing ghosts in The Haunting of Urdidasi? Or is that a bigger thing? Which, I wouldn't be against. Like, let's have like a redemption arc for Space Babies. Let's go back to it
I
and
think
say
it's
there was something
that's so
bigger.
random otherwise. Is Captain
Yeah.
Poppy an anagram of anything? Can we work it out?
I don't know, but there
Captain
is
Poppy is going to team up with Conrad and Mrs. Flood.
what the Unholy Trinity.
And
The
that's
Unholy
going to be
That's the
that's the Holy Trinity.
triangle of sadness.
I did see someone point out that I think next week on one of the computer screens for the Harmony Arena, the Interstellar Song Contest, it's like sponsored by Poppy something, like a company called
Interesting.
Poppy. So
Oh no.
sponsored by
Can't go
Bezos.
through this.
Well,
Maybe
the
she'll be
guys
on
in-
stage doing a little song, but yeah.
Well, to next week, there's definitely a lot more to the Interstellar Song Contest because we've talked about this. The guys with the guns in the trailer in like the black suits look like the
Yes.
ones in the Bone Castle in the trailer for the finale.
Yes,
You know, behind the horned man.
the horn dude, kid.
So
apparently is the
when
character.
Russell was talking about, do we think next week's actually going to be just as basic Eurovision and that's it, or do you think it's going to be more than that?
Could be a bit
I
of a
think it's-
utopia kind of situation where it's
I think it'll
an
lead
under the
into
radar 3-parter maybe,
Yeah.
because they've
I
only
hope
shown
so,
clips
yeah.
which are probably
Who
from
knows?
the pre-titles and immediately after. I loved also as well some of the marketing for this next episode. I know we're really jumping ahead here, but watching telly, a trailer came on for the Interstellar Song Contest episode, but it's framed like a Eurovision trailer.
What,
And
with Ryland?
you've got Graham Norton doing a bit of narration, being like, join your host, Ryland Clark, da, 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 da. And it's only at the end
good,
when
that.
it transpires, and it's actually a Doctor. Thank you very much. It's only at the end when it transpires that this is a Doctor Who trailer. I just thought that was a really clever way of hooking people in, going,
Yes.
this looks like a very weird year for the Eurovision. Oh wait, it's Doctor Who. Oh wow, cool. So I'm really
It probably
interested to see how
wouldn't.
that.
It wouldn't that way for Eurovision. It looks
It
normal.
just looks like it looks like a normal Eurovision to be fair, yeah.
I suppose
I mean,
before we get on to
overall
next week's,
though, what
get
did we
onto
like overall? I feel like we've not talked
overall
about
thought.
overall what we.
It feels like we've kind of
thought
skipped
of
over
it.
a bit, haven't we? Yeah.
There was a giant spider at one point. They'll probably make it to that.
There
And our
was.
legs will
Big
fall off.
spider.
Yes.
There was, well,
They leaked the ending for that, which was great. We all I don't get why they did that still. Like, I know they needed a big explosion in the trailer, but why show it exploding? 'Cause,
That was an
like,
interesting choice, that wasn't it?
Like you get to the
Yeah.
end of the story and you're like, okay, the Doctor's overloading this thing. Okay, this is the ending. I
Well,
just don't.
I hadn't picked up on it until it said last week on tape, so I'm going to put the blame on you for that. You know, you talk about the
It was in the trailer.
I didn't analyze the trailer. I watched it once, and well, a few. So that
Call
was
yourself a Doctor Who fan, Pete.
yeah. Sorry, take fan.
I didn't understand how if the barbershop was on the spider's back, how did it suddenly start coming through the door of the barbershop?
Yeah,
I took
I've
it as
seen
because it
people
was
say that, but,
compressing.
like,
Was it the doctor said, "Oh, the place is compressing," so
oh, is there
Belinda could
actually a
just
line
run
about
through.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's why Belinda could get out so quick without the maze. That's
Oh,
why.
yes.
And I sort of took it as it was
Yes.
almost kind of coming inside itself.
But
And
then that means
yeah.
that it would have to have like phased through the
Through the walls of the
Yeah.
I think they just went, "This is a nice visual.
It was a cool
Let's
visual.
not think too
Yeah.
much about it."
To
And,
be honest, I
chuck
didn't
it.
mind that.
It's kind of like
Doctor
it was
Who,
either the doctor just facing a load of like energy coming out the door, or why don't we chuck a spider coming out of it as well?
Yeah.
So I suppose it's it is when you think about it, it does kind of But I took it as because the line about the stuff compressing was like maybe that's why it kind of is all wibbly wobbly and folding in and
Yeah.
we haven't used our Disney money for this episode. We're going to chuck it on this.
Yeah,
That's
let's-
basically what it was.
put that spider in there. We've not used enough shots of it. Everyone thinks it's been blown up. Just put it coming through the door instead. Yeah.
No, it's an interesting one with that, like the money and stuff, because obviously this was quite a theatrical episode, I suppose, wasn't it? Which isn't surprising given it's written by a playwright and poet and performer. But I suppose you had like obviously the barbershop is like a key set. Where a lot of it is set in that room, and then you have the kind of the brain tree thing underground, the labyrinth later on, and a bit of that exterior stuff, which was shot in the studio. Pardon me. Before that, but I guess that's an interesting one. It's nice that they had. I think there was like the giant spider. There was some kind of creature just to like kind of turn a box and say, "Oh yeah, we have kind of got a monster here" or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish my hair could like that from the episode.
Just go back. Yeah, that was a cool effect on it.
Tell us the story, Pete, and it might well happen.
Yeah.
Get the razor out.
Yeah.
I have to say as well, because we haven't really spoken about it.
Yes.
I think that having an episode like this was exactly what we needed and exactly what I was hoping for with Ncuti's Doctor. I remember saying, like, for season 1, it was mad not only that we didn't have as varied a selection of writers, but that for our first mainline Black Doctor, we didn't have a black person writing him. And so I think this was exactly what we needed, and it felt utterly unique.
So different. Yeah.
So different, and it was brilliant. I mean, I'm not going to be able to identify and see all of the importance and weight to all of this as as a white person, but it looks like it really resonated with audiences, and I really liked it because it felt like something we've never seen in the history of the show. To come at it from this perspective, even as much as the Doctor saying this is the first time I've been in this body and I find comfort going to this place where I'm accepted here, which really set up the part later on where he feels kind of betrayed by Omo. Really, really powerful. And so, I really, really appreciated, and I think that this was almost a Doctor-defining episode, defining episode for Ncuti, because it couldn't be done with any other Doctor, and it was really good to see like a fresh perspective on a Doctor Who story.
Yeah, that's the vibe I
Definitely,
took away as well. Was it's
Yeah.
fresh. This is something very different. I loved what Inua took to Doctor Who in terms of writing it a bit like a play, and that the dialogue was on point. Ncuti was clearly, he connected with this material, and that's why he kind of thrived in this one. It was really good, and on the levels of stories and what they mean and what they can do. It educating us. I loved the bit about the hair, about the braiding the hair for the maps. It was a very interesting way to bring that bit of African history into the story, regardless. Fascinating thing that I've never heard of before. So yeah, I really dug this week. I feel like I'm getting to the point where every week there's the next episode. I'm like, this was banging. This was the best one. This is the best one. But what a strong run! If after every episode you I kept saying this to people at the BFI. I was like, how lucky are we that we could turn around to this whole series and go, any of those could be my favorite for and on a wider scale. It's been really strong, and this week just really dug it.
What do we think about Mrs. Flood? Okay.
Was she the only way she was integrated was in the story about Belinda, right?
Yes.
Was she getting her meds?
Very briefly.
Getting her meds. Yeah. I mean, it kind of felt more along the lines of the Robot Revolution cameo, didn't it? Of it being literally the same kind of way that she was incorporated into the story, knowing.
It was the most subtle one yet, really, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
which I didn't mind actually. I didn't mind that at this point.
I didn't mind it, and I think that
we're so close now.
If they'd done it so that she was just sort of there in Lagos, that would have been a bit weird, given what the story
a bit jarring.
About.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they did it like that, and it was a flashback. And
I thought it was also interesting how they made the Doctor tell a story about Belinda as well, rather than a story of his own, which was like an allegory. So I thought that might have been quite interesting if he told a story about Daleks or whatever that had a message to it. Yeah, a bit like all the other people in the barbershop. But yeah, nonetheless, it was nice to have Belinda have a bit more involvement through that extra element.
So I guess unless anybody else has anything pressing to say about the story and the engine, shall we move on to next week? Thoughts, hopes, predictions there. Spoiler free, of course. We've discussed it a bit already, but the Interstellar Song Contest. I really do hope this is kind of like a lead into the finale, and we've been told that it's like on the surface quite camp, silly or like superficial kind of story, but actually there's deeper stuff going on.
You can translate that all into one word, and that is Eurovision.
But with deeper
Eurovision
stuff going
makes
on
Die
underneath and leading into a finale.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But
I'm not sure when I'm going to get a chance to watch this one, because I know that I think it was in Doctor Who magazine or somewhere else, Russell was like, you have to watch this when it, like 8 a.m. when it drops, because there's like big twists, and presumably we're going to find out about who Mrs. Flood is in this one.
Yeah, because she's in it a lot more, isn't she?
Yeah,
she's in
so
the crowd, isn't she?
Oh, I love a good show. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to try and watch it at 8 a.m, but now I'm going on a hike with my hiking group, and I have to set off about 8 a.m. So I'm going to keep my phone turned off. Hopefully there'll be no signal in the hills that we're walking on
anyway.
It's
really nice though to just turn it off for that. Enjoy nature, and then you can come back, then you can worry about it all.
True.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I'm thinking whether to
Delete
watch
Twitter.
it. I might watch it like before, because it's on just before Eurovision, right? It's the last show before it's on.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Were we wondering whether it's
I
going to
think it's like the
fit in the
football or
schedules now?
something, which is it goes to extra time. But
Yeah, but
I think
football
it'll
starts
probably
at
be
like
okay, won't it?
3:30,
It'll be
so
fine.
yeah,
I'm
should be
sure
enough
it'll be
time.
okay.
I think they've even I saw someone say they've even like left a slot, I think, on BBC Two or something, that they could just they could substitute it in for something else. If
Oh,
it came
great!
to
So it gets demoted.
Sub it in.
Sub it in.
Take it off at half
But,
time. Put it onto BBC Two bench.
Yeah.
I'd quite
Yeah, I've
like to
actually
watch it running into Eurovision. I think that'd be quite a
Fun,
nice
wouldn't
way
it?
of tying in. I mean, we're going to do a Eurovision night with the family, so because we love watching Eurovision every year. So it'd be nice to be like, let's watch Doctor Who and then lead that in, Interstellar Song Contest and then the Eurovision Song Contest.
Which will be
Maybe
better.
I'll do that. Maybe I'll try and get some peace and just turn off my phone for the day and then jump into it live. Who knows? I'm not
Hopefully,
sure.
gets it a rating boost.
Could do, yeah. Especially the tail end, of people tuning in and getting ready for the Eurovision.
That'd be nice.
I've been watching all the Eccleston episodes every Wednesday at the time they would have gone out, because like the dates, it was on a Saturday, is now a Wednesday, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And I should have said 20 years after that, to the day I should have said, but yeah. and next week is The Empty Child, and I have to watch that half an hour earlier because in 2005 that was half an hour earlier because of Eurovision. So it feels like
was it?
history repeating itself almost.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and I think there was.
Wow.
I do remember. Just to kind of go a bit off topic, but I do remember Series 3 and I think Series 5.
Yes.
I think Series
Didn't that
5.
have a
they
day?
missed a week,
It
didn't they?
skipped a week, didn't it? Yeah, and we
Yeah.
got
Joe
like
and
a
I have
mid-series
discussed
trailer.
this. Yes. So
Yeah.
I think I don't know if
42?
series. It was always like
Before
around episode
42,
7, or
I think.
Yeah.
And was it
Maybe
Forest
some-
of the Dead that was
I thought it was
a week
Sontaran
before
Stratagem.
that?
I'm pretty
I
sure
just remember
from
the
memory.
mid-series trailer, and I thought that was because they'd
I think
taken
it
a
was
week in
between
between.
Unicorn and the
Or
Wasp
Poison
and Silence
Sky.
in the Library for series 4,
and
I
Silence
think.
in the Library,
And
that's
that's why they had that trailer. And I even remember with like Doctor Who Adventures magazine where they'd have there's like a generic issue in between that, like where it's like there's no new episode this week.
No
We'll
new
have, like
episode,
some
yeah.
monsters and just catch up on everything that's happened so far and look ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Eurovision and Doctor Who they go back, and of course in this era we've had
Catherine Tate presenting it.
we did Let me try and get this
She
right.
made
So
like
20...
the weirdest Doctor Who reference ever in it. Like, did she say
It
something?
said Alonzi, and then there was like the deadest
one got it.
pause, the
Just
longest
point to the
pause.
pause, yeah.
No one reacted to it.
Well, I
Because
could,
last year
I could
was
be wrong.
the launch, wasn't it, of the series, and then before that, I think
Yeah.
one of the 60th trailers was released in 2023. So it was those glitchy ones, wasn't it? So yeah, there's a history, particularly with this current era, and I suppose actually they must have known all along that this was coming. So it must have been quite funny for like Russell, like chuckling away, like just you wait. But sorry, Pete. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there was one episode of The Censorites that was delayed by a week because of the Eurovision. Could have been a football thing, but I think it was Eurovision that they skipped a week during the Censorites. So it's even way back as far as that.
As far as that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be something a bit different, and it'll be something to look forward to after the long hike that I'll be doing, 12 miles. So if I end up doing it, so
You get to come back to the dud of the series. I think this one's going to be the dud. Like, I have a weird feeling about it. I think it's going to be a bit.
I've heard that from people associated with it. Some people that have been on the what am I trying to say, sidelines of working on it that have said.
Well, that's not good, is it?
I mean, it's no spoiler to say there are songs that Murray has written for this. I think he's written 4 songs.
I was going to say, I wonder if there's going to be.
So maybe that's going to be a controversial thing. We'll have to see, I suppose, how that goes. But yeah, there's a version of it that exists in my head that never. No, there's a version that exists in my head which is like quite epic and does lead into the finale, and like I kind of hope it something approaching that. But I guess we'll see. I'm just intrigued to see what the hidden depths are and the if there is any of that kind of building momentum and setting things up or not.
I'm looking forward to like the meta. Yeah. I'm looking forward to like the meta level of it being a Eurovision pastiche. I know the Big Finish did one called Bang Bang a Boom way back in 2000 and whatever, which is camp as anything. It's fantastic. So I'm really interested and they had like a Terry Wogan like commentator throughout the whole story, which was really funny. So I'm wondering how they're going to pastiche the Eurovision stuff, because as I said, it's kind of been a family thing for years, just watching Eurovision and getting together and enjoying that. So I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate those things.
I think it would be great if there's a bit in the episode, maybe even at the end of the episode, I don't know when, but there's a bit in the episode where the Doctor and Belinda are like, we should watch some old Eurovisions, and there's like a clip of, obviously it won't be this year's, but they could try and make it look like it's this year's, maybe have the same costume that Ryland's going to wear, or have something that's a little bit kind of...
Yeah, like a little wink and a nod, yeah. And whether Shooty, who is giving the UK's results, I doubt it. He'll probably just wear something, extravagant, and that'll be it. But whether he'll wear a Doctor Who related thing or have any sort of tie-in.
That'd be nice.
If he's not in his leather coat, that's it. Like that is a missed opportunity.
Live from Cardiff.
Yeah.
Live from Bad Wolf Studios.
Yeah.
Well, the TARDIS would make a perfect Eurovision set with all the lights. Yeah.
Live from the TARDIS. Live from
It's kind of crazy. Well, not to put a downer on things, but like I was kind of thinking, and obviously this isn't spoilers or anything, but it's like with the uncertainty regarding Shooty's future with the show. Like, imagine if this was like the last, like this upcoming insert, the Deuce Points for
Is his
announcing things.
penultimate story.
If that was like the last thing he shoots as well, like the last thing he ever films for Doctor Who, and it's like a Eurovision clip. That'd be quite funny, quite poetic, I suppose.
I love that.
I suppose whatever, it'll be the last thing he shoots. Well, it's not really a Doctor Who thing, is it? But like, yeah, for this season at least, the most up to date footage we have of him, so that'd be interesting. But yeah,
Because it'll be live.
his Doctor
It'll obviously
outfit.
be live. It's not that they've
Yeah,
pre-shot this. They'll be live from wherever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be
Brand new
interesting.
shooting.
I really hope, Richard, your Mrs. Flood thing that we mentioned, your theory regarding how she will reveal herself.
Yes.
I really hope at the end of the episode that happens, because I think it'd just be so funny.
Do I want to hear this, or is this too
I
spoilery?
don't know, because it's not been leaked, but I think Rich, a bit like when you said, she's going to up and clogs, get her bags, and then she's going to be Belinda's next neighbour.
Yeah.
You've got like this weird precognitive sense of guessing this kind of thing, so I don't want to like.
I won't tread on that, but
Yeah.
I don't think this is what you're talking about. But a separate theory, and it's not unique to me. It's not leaked or anything like that. But like, there is a line of thought that what if she stands up and sings? Obviously, because she's got the precedent with Anita Dobson.
Brian May comes up
EastEnders
behind her,
song back
just
in the
behind the
80s.
guitar.
Brian May cameo, yeah. I think that would be quite funny. Like, imagine if she revealed herself like during a song. That would be very memorable. Yeah, just leading into the actual Eurovision. So maybe that's one of the songs that Murray has composed. Who knows? But
have we got any? If she does reveal herself next week, there have we got any
final
last theories about who she is?
I mean,
I
I would
want to say it. But
Yeah, so
no one
I mean,
else.
I don't know whether people know spoilery things. So, but I would say, from my point of view, the Pantheon has been made such a big thing that she's got to have some sort of a involvement in that. The fact that she's been so meta, that's got to have a degree of, that's got to have something to do with her as well. So whether she's a god of stories, I don't know. But then that feels a bit too basic. So it's hard to,
I think,
hard to say.
yeah. I remember saying when we watched Church and Ruby Road that like time changed at some point.
Yeah.
Before she's just a random neighbor, and then she's got mad knowledge about the TARDIS as soon as he leaves. So I wonder if that'll get picked up on, maybe like time changed or something happened off screen that we didn't see.
Mavity. It's all to do with Mavity. It'll all go back to that Isaac
Mavity.
Newton thing.
Maybe she opened
it's
like a
Mavity.
fob watch and she absorbed the essence of, I don't know, the master or something. She got the gold tooth from the giggle room.
there we go.
Put it back in.
Do you think someone
to
will
teeth.
sing "Defying Mavity" during the international song contest?
It'd be a
Is that-
missed
that's
opportunity,
an
right?
open goal right there, isn't it?
It'll be interesting next week, whatever happens, whether any of the rumours or anything come true or not, to at least be able to talk about what they were and like compare to what we get. But yes, not getting any close to that now because we're so close to the episode, and
It's just
So-
sad it got leaked. That's the only thing, because like we're 5 for 5 on the leaks now. Like we could talk about this with the 5 episodes, but
yeah.
I heard that there was another leak that came out earlier in the past couple of days. I don't know what
Some
that is.
tabloid
That was
thing
weird.
or something.
Yeah, but then there seems to be more people talking about the fact there was a leak than actually
Yeah.
talking about the leak itself. So I'm not quite sure.
I've literally
stayed away
taken
from
Twitter
what
off
that
my
is.
phone now because I've just thought
yeah.
there's too much
Too
the
dangerous.
risk of
Off to the
scrolling,
end.
and so I'm leaving it be. But what
So-
I was just going to say, I'm really loving is that week on week, I'm really excited for the next episode, and I'm kind of really willing Saturday to come sooner because it's been such a great streaks of episodes so far, and I kind of, if they're all out at once, I'd be binging them, So I'm really excited for this next episode and all the ones to come. Really, yeah.
it's the first time in a while I think the series has felt like not like it's gone back to the Tennant days where it was just banger after week. Like even Love and Monsters, when it was a bit of a dud, you could still enjoy it and sit down and have a laugh with it. And I feel Doctor Who hasn't been like that for a while. I don't
It's
know. I
really
think-
been a really enjoyable stretch of episodes every week. Yeah.
because like with last year, you had really great episodes like Boom, but obviously you have your Space Babies and Empire of Death, and it was like mixed bag what you got. While this is just consistency, and it's back to how it should be, but whether it lasts, who knows?
The only thing is with the Mrs. Flood thing, I hope it's not like I thought that the anagram thing last year was so. If it's something like that, and then we'll come back in a week's time. But if it's like, Flood, Mrs. Flood is an anagram of whatever.
Food,
yeah.
Food,
yeah, exactly.
Food
Sigma, yeah.
If she goes like, oh, I'm Mrs. Flood's. Flood is caused by the rain. I'm the Rani. Then that's going to be so.
I'm the rainy.
I hope that doesn't happen because, I hope it's something like more satisfying than that. And I'm nervous.
I'd love it to be really left field, like someone we don't know, like the Bishop Richard that keeps coming up for some reason.
Yes.
Like just someone we don't have a clue. I think it'd just be funny.
Bishop, the Conquistador,
for the finale.
It's
supposed to be a returning villain, then it's just nothing no one's expecting.
Yeah. No, it's a weird kind of time, and I don't know. Even possibly knowing stuff, it's difficult to actually see. Where it's going to go, and with the finale as well, and all these things we're hearing about, the Unholy Trinity, the Underverse, the Bone Palace, Bone Beasts. It's like, how the heck does this all fit together? And presumably also tying up the Pantheon in some way as well. I suppose that there's a link there with gods and holiness and something maybe there. Just a few more days. Comment below all your thoughts and opinions on the story and the engine, and any predictions or hopes for the Interstellar Song Contest. You can make them as spoiler-filled as you like, because no one has to read them. We'll be back next week to dissect whatever does or doesn't happen on Saturday.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting episode, I think. I'm intrigued to see how it all goes down. Thank you everybody for joining me, and Pete, of course, who's now off in the ether. And
he's been ejected into space,
like the audience of the contest. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.